After the apocalypse, time will be unimportant, you might think. The time you need to wake up, the time you spend driving from home to work, and the time of day you have to meet to go to the movies, sure. But what about times for cooking, brewing, or other important timed tasks? When the electricity is out and batteries are failing, could you use one of these? Hello, fellow mutants. About a year ago, I picked up an alarm clock. To be specific, a wind-up alarm clock. For keeping time in today's world where everyone carries a smartphone and other digital devices, it's surely obsolete. In terms of accuracy as well, old-fashioned clockwork is unreliable unless you intend to spend a lot of money on a quality piece or something like a kinetic wristwatch. A wind-up clock can be a useful tool in a grid-down, no-electricity, post-apocalyptic scenario for a variety of purposes. Here's some examples. Timekeeping. A wind-up clock can be used to keep track of time, which can be important for scheduling tasks or activities, planning travel or movement, and coordinating with others. Cooking. A wind-up clock can be used as a kitchen timer to time the cooking of food. This can be especially important for baking or cooking dishes that require precise timing. Water treatment. A wind-up clock can be used to time the duration of water filtration processes, such as boiling or using a gravity-fed filtration system. This can help ensure that the water is properly treated and safe to drink. For example, the CDC recommends boiling potentially unsafe water for roughly 3 minutes after the water comes to a rolling boil. This may seem like an odd thing to worry about, unless you're working off a canister of butane or a propane tank, and you want to really make it last. Every moment counts in that case. Gardening. A wind-up clock can be used to time the duration of watering, fertilizing, or other gardening tasks. This can help ensure that plants receive the appropriate amount of care and attention, especially when water is at a premium. Security. A wind-up clock can be used as a backup to other security measures such as timing watches, stopwatches, or schedules for patrol routes. Overall, a wind-up clock can be a useful tool in a post-apocalyptic scenario where electricity and batteries are not available. It is important to note that wind-up clocks may need to be wound frequently to ensure accuracy, and they may not be as reliable as battery or electric-powered clocks. However, they can still provide a valuable resource for timekeeping. For brewing, pickling, or food preparation, you might consider just getting an egg timer. Most egg timers have a duration of 3 to 7 minutes, however, making an alarm clock like this one better for longer times. Here are some examples. Boiling or simmering. When cooking certain dishes such as emergency food, soups, and stews, you may need to simmer for an extended period. A timer can help ensure that you do not overcook or undercook the dish. Undercooking freeze-dried food. Undercooking and eating freeze-dried emergency foods can be harmful to your health as it can cause foodborne illness. Freeze-drying is a method of food preservation that involves removing water from the food to prevent growth of bacteria and other microorganisms. However, if the food is not cooked or rehydrated properly, there is a risk of bacterial contamination that can lead to food poisoning. Some common symptoms of food poisoning from undercooked freeze-dried foods include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and fever. These symptoms can vary in severity and can last for several days, depending on the type and amount of bacteria ingested. To prevent food poisoning from undercooked freeze-dried emergency foods, it's important to follow the instructions for preparation carefully, including the recommended cooking or rehydration times and temperatures. Eating raw or undercooked rice can result in food poisoning as well, as it is a common source of the bacterium Bacillus cereus. This bacterium is commonly found in soil and can contaminate various foods that we consume, along with over 60,000 people in the U.S. falling ill from it every year. Rice and rice-based products are often contaminated with Bacillus cereus particularly when they are not handled or cooked properly. Ingesting contaminated rice can lead to this form of food poisoning. Pickling. Depending on the recipe, you may need to soak fruits or vegetables in a brine for several hours or even overnight. A timer can help keep track of the soaking time and ensure that the pickling process is properly done and complete. Roasting or baking. Roasting or baking certain foods such as meat and vegetables requires a precise timing to achieve the desired level of doneness. A timer could help ensure that the food is cooked evenly and thoroughly, although you could always just cook the heck out of it until it's like a piece of leather. Proofing dough. When making bread or other baked goods, you may need to let the dough rise for several hours. A timer can help keep track of the proofing time and ensure that the dough is ready for baking. Overall, I think you can see how a timer of more than 3 to 7 minutes could be useful in food preparation and can help ensure consistent results and prevent overcooking and undercooking. A wind-up timer can also be useful in backyard blacksmithing and smelting for a few reasons. Heat control. Metalworking, for example, when monitoring heating and cooling times of the metal. Different types of metal require different heating and cooling times, and a timer can help ensure that the metal is heated or cooled to the correct temperatures for a specific duration. You may not have a lot of time to play around, no pun intended with the time, to play around with different recipes of heating and cooling, and will surely be more efficient to use the experience of others and their timing rather than try to develop a skill after the apocalypse. There's also the process of quenching in blacksmithing. To rapidly cool the metal after it's been heated, you could use a timer to control the duration of the quenching process as well and ensure that the metal is quenched for the appropriate amount of time, or perhaps more specifically, the same time if you're looking to duplicate prior results. These are just a few of the things that occurred to me as I considered the value of keeping time. Perhaps in a true SHTF scenario, you might consider a clock like this one to be a luxury, a relic of a time gone by. But what if one of your family has gone out to look for supplies and tells you they'll be back in an hour? What will that mean in an age without clocks? We survived thousands of years without exact timekeeping tools, but would having a clock give you an edge? Maybe a couple in the instance that one of them breaks. Perhaps a wind-up pocket watch for you and the person going on a supply run. All things to consider. Let me know what you think. Well, that's all I have for today, fellow mutants. Until next time, Copper Mutant, signing out.